Hi, my name is Eve, and I'm a sophomore at Morristown High School, and this is my first year in the Life Design Lab. Going into this class, I honestly didn't know what to expect. I started looking for a rubric, a syllabus, or a textbook, but when Mr. Madden started to introduce the class, I quickly realized life design wasn't your typical high school course. It was something completely new to me. The class was full of students of all ages, and if I'm being honest, at first I only took life design to fulfill the STEM requirement. But after almost a full year, it has completely changed my perspective of learning, and I realized that real learning doesn't always come from a textbook, but it's about the ups and downs and how you get there. Up until the beginning of my sophomore year, my high school experience has mostly been about following strict rules and trying to find the one correct answer. I believed that there was only one way to do something. I never considered myself a perfectionist, but there wasn't a clear way of getting that A on my report card in life design. Life design for me was different. For the first time, there wasn't a generic standard to fit into. I realized I could actually be creative, and the process of what I'm doing matters just as much as my final result. This freedom allowed me to realize that my high school mindset was truly holding me back. I was so afraid of doing something wrong that I didn't learn how to do it my own way. And if I'm being honest, this definitely gave me a mental block. I had so much freedom that I wasn't used to, and I had no idea what to do. Everyone in the class was brainstorming as they went along, and that as long as I took the first step, I was beginning my project. I began to be okay with uncertainty, and that is very uncommon for me, especially in school. And I started to look into things that I was passionate about. One thing about me is that I've always loved Dunkin'. I began to wonder, what actually happens to all the donuts and food at the end of the night when the store closes? The older I got, the more often I went, and I started to wonder where all the leftover food goes. That simple question led me to a much bigger realization. It isn't just Dunkin'. There's a massive surplus of food across the entire food industry, even in small businesses. That made me start thinking about why this happens, and more importantly, how I could try my best to make a real change in my community. Part of this project is to build a bridge between food insecurity and food waste here in Morristown. My partner, Harper Badawer, and I spent our time working to create a system that collects the surplus of food from local businesses that delivers it to Nourish, New Jersey. From there, Nourish makes sure the food gets to people in our community that need it the most. We spent a lot of time talking to the chef and coordinators, setting up virtual meetings, and constantly sending emails and text messages at Nourish to help understand their needs. With the idea in mind, Harper and I came up with Morristown Meal Connect, a plan that is easy, local, and realistic. We wanted something that would actually make an impact and work for real businesses in Morristown. We wanted it to be so simple to the point where everyone wanted to be a part of Morristown Meal Connect. At first, we took a more traditional approach and sent out emails to business restaurants around the green. But we quickly realized that busy business owners do not always have time to be checking and responding to their emails. When we weren't getting responses, we changed our approach. So we pivoted. We created an Instagram account and started reaching out by direct messaging almost every restaurant in town. This ended up being much more effective, and we finally started getting responses and building connections with businesses. We began seeing interest from local and Swiss Chalet, which showed us that our new idea was actually working. As more restaurants began to be interested, we needed a new way to stay organized. To keep everything nice and organized, Harper and I came up with a live Google Sheet. We kept track of the businesses we contacted, their contact, the status in which they've replied, our last time we contacted them, and any additional notes or questions the business might have. Our first successful pickup was at Millie's in Morristown, where we received about 50 frozen personal pizzas. This was so exciting and an amazing moment because it gave us hope that our project could actually work. I remember me and Harper loading the boxes into the trunk of my dad's car, and it felt so much more real than just spreading the word at an exhibition night. After our first successful pickup in Millie's, we had to keep consistently messaging Nourish and making sure that everything was coordinated. We had to figure out schedules, the correct times to drop off the food, and we also wanted to make sure that we were giving them what they needed. This project has not only changed my life inside the classroom, but it's also changed my daily lifestyle. Now when I walk around town with my friends or my family, I don't see these restaurants as just normal restaurants. I see them as possible opportunities. I have even become more aware of the food waste that happens in my own home. I find myself making less food, knowing that I can always make more if I get hungry. This class has taught me that life design is not just a regular school subject. I've started thinking deeper in all aspects of my life, at my home, and even in school. I just start to think to myself, is there a more efficient way to do this? And I have grown. I have personally grown from a student into someone who's looking for change. Throughout this entire project, I have learned so many new skills. At first, I realized that my high school mindset was actually a mental block. I was also so afraid of doing something wrong that I never learned how to do it my own way. Life Design Lab taught me to be okay with uncertainty, which is especially very uncommon for me in school. I have learned that a failed email isn't a failure, and it's actually growth that leads to new ideas. I have taken knowledge and applied it into my other classes when I hit a wall, and I don't give up. I've especially improved my communication skills by making direct phone calls and sending professional DMs. While it's very nerve-wracking at first, it helped my social confidence tremendously. I now feel comfortable walking into a business like Millie's and speaking to an owner as a person wanting change and not just as a student. I strengthened my problem-solving skills by figuring out how to adjust when some schedules did not align or when a business was too busy to talk. Most importantly, I have learned how to take initiative. Over this past year, Life Design Lab has changed how I view myself. I'm no longer a student waiting for direct instructions, and now I can take initiative, and I'm a person who can mend a problem and come up with a solution. I started this project incredibly unsure and scared. And although my project is not perfect, I know I've built something real, and I'm trying to make a difference throughout my community. Harper and I are already looking towards the future and planning to bring local and Swiss Chalet officially into our schedules as mentioned earlier. Life Design has given me the tools to make a difference, and I'm planning on using the mental abilities that I've learned in Life Design and my physical changes I've made to the community long after this year ends. Thank you.